In 2021, something happened in our biomedical engineering unit that changed everything we thought we knew. It started with a simple observation that quickly led to a profound truth none of us were prepared to face. The whole unfolding drama kicked off one quiet Sunday afternoon at a family naming ceremony. Our colleague Thomas had invited all 5 of us to join in celebrating the arrival of his newborn son. Thomas and his wife Margaret both have wonderfully dark skin tones, but their baby boy looked like he had arrived straight from a completely different continent. He had soft, fine curly hair, surprisingly fair skin, and eyes that were a striking shade of pale gray. As we ate jollof rice around that round table, our eyes kept sending urgent, secret messages to each other. Michael leaned over and quietly asked me, "David, are you actually seeing this? Or is the drink messing with my vision?" Sam quickly chimed in softly, "Bro, it's not a hallucination. That child looks like he was born in Beijing with those unique curls." Grace, ever the religious one, immediately shot them a look and calmly said, "Please, let's behave. It might just be a throwback gene working in mysterious ways." However, I shook my head because, as dedicated scientists, we knew better than to believe that explanation. I argued back internally. A throwback from where? Grace, this specific phenotype simply does not match the known genotype. We all tried our best to drop the subject, but the nagging thought just refused to leave our collective minds. By the time Monday morning rolled around, we found ourselves huddled behind the massive autoclave machine at work. This spot behind the equipment was our unofficial location for discussing anything awkward or deeply uncomfortable. Daniel was the first to break the silence, asking, "Guys, should we even tell Thomas if he's potentially raising another man's child?" He pressed further, emphasizing, "Because staying silent in this situation feels incredibly wicked to me right now." Grace instantly backed out of the conversation, putting her hands up defensively in the air. She firmly declared, "Count me completely out of this. I am absolutely not touching husband and wife matters." Michael sighed heavily, clearly looking defeated at the very prospect of doing absolutely nothing at all. He questioned the group, "So we will just sit back and watch him dedicate his whole life to a child that might not even be his own?" Sam immediately agreed with the vital necessity of eventually telling him the truth. He then pointed out the obvious next problem. Yes, we must tell him, but who among us is going to actually do the hard talking? Then, slowly, every single pair of eyes in that tense huddle shifted and landed squarely on me. I instinctively frowned, asking them all directly, "Why are all of you suddenly staring at me like that?" Michael simply shrugged his shoulders in a universal gesture of helplessness and resignation. He explained, "Because you are the only one who can deliver this news using medical grammar without starting a massive fight." After what felt like hours of intense debate, we finally reached a difficult and solemn consensus. We all solemnly agreed that, for better or worse, we absolutely had to tell Thomas the difficult truth. We called Thomas into the supervisor's office during the lunch break for that necessary, difficult conversation. He sat there, eating his puff-puff, smiling widely, completely and happily oblivious to what was approaching. I started carefully by saying, "Thomas, congratulations again. Your son is truly a beautiful baby." I continued very softly, "But something has been weighing heavily on the team. So for everyone's peace of mind, have you ever considered a simple DNA test?" Thomas instantly froze, solid in his chair, his cheerful smile vanishing completely from his face. He then slowly rose to his feet, the half-eaten puff forgotten on his plate in front of him. He looked at each one of us in turn, his face twisting into a painful mix of hurt, anger, and deep betrayal. He pointed at me first and then shouted explosively, "David, you, and you, Michael, even you, Grace." He continued his furious accusation. "Because my son has lighter skin, your envy is consuming you, wanting to destroy my family." Michael immediately tried to de-escalate the situation by calmly saying, "Thomas, nobody here is trying to start a fight." But Thomas violently cut him off with a loud, raw shout, "Shut up, all of you. You are enemies of progress, and I never want to speak to any of you again." He then stormed out of the office, leaving a sudden, heavy, suffocating silence behind him. And just like that, the long, cold war between the 5 of us and Thomas officially began that very day. If I ever asked him for a simple screwdriver, he would pointedly and deliberately ignore my request every time. If Sam happened to offer a simple, polite greeting, Thomas would audibly hiss back at him in response. He took to calling our small group collectively the 5 haters of the department to everyone who would listen. We eventually decided to just let the relentless passage of time do its work and allow the situation to eventually cool down. This meant enduring 4 long years filled with deep, simmering malice and a constant growing bitterness between us colleagues. Then, just last month, the entire tense dynamic of our department suddenly and completely changed forever in an instant. Thomas burst through the emergency unit doors, carrying his small 4-year-old son in his arms. The little boy was crying terribly in pain, showing clear, classic signs of a severe sickle cell crisis, his eyes looking pale. The pediatrician on duty immediately ordered a genotype test to confirm the alarming diagnosis right away. Thomas paced the hospital corridor like a desperate man, waiting to receive a devastating life sentence. He kept muttering frantically to himself, "But I am AA. I am definitely AA. How is it possible for my son to have sickle cell?" We used our unit's own resources to quickly run the definitive test ourselves for absolute confirmation. The final result that came back from the analysis was undeniably harsh and delivered with immediate finality. Tragically, I was the designated person who had to physically hand that critical piece of paper to Thomas. When I finally approached him, the intense anger he had carried for 4 years was completely extinguished from his face. All that remained on his features was palpable fear, deep confusion, and a father's crushing, visible heartbreak. He asked me very quietly, looking only at the floor, "David, the doctor says he's SS, but I am AA. Please help me understand this." I swallowed very hard, trying to gather my scientific thoughts before I dared to speak another word. I explained carefully, "Thomas, if you are AA, you only possess the A genes available to pass on to your children." I continued with the basic science. For a child to end up as SS, he absolutely must inherit an S gene from his mother and an S gene from his father. I finished with the clear conclusion, "Thomas, you simply cannot pass on a gene that you do not inherently possess yourself." He just stared at the lab result, his eyes wide open, as if the paper itself was actively shattering his entire world. 4 years earlier, he had angrily rejected the objective science because the implications deeply bruised his personal feelings. But now, that very same cold, hard science stood directly in front of him, undeniable and completely unchangeable. His knees felt weak, and he nearly buckled under the sheer weight of that devastating revelation. He whispered my name that time, not with any lingering anger, but with a tone of absolute crushing defeat. Sometimes the most important truths in life are only whispered very quietly in the dark. Other times, they arrive with a deafening shout that everyone in the vicinity can clearly hear. But regardless of how it is delivered, the final truth never ever knocks softly when it finally arrives at your door. Thanks so much for watching this powerful story from X Stories Hub. If this narrative resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Do you have a compelling real-life tweet or story that you want us to cover next? Drop all your suggestions down in the comment section below. We look forward to seeing you again in our very next featured story video.